The council chamber floated in empty space like a jewel. It was built from crystal that caught the light of distant stars. Inside, hundreds of aliens sat in rows that curved around a central platform. Claire Morrison walked down the long aisle toward that platform. Her shoes clicked on the smooth floor. Every eye in the chamber turned to watch her. She was 48 years old and had spent 20 years learning how to talk to people who wanted to kill each other. She was good at her job. She had ended wars on Earth. She had convinced enemies to become friends. Now she had to do the same thing here, millions of miles from home. Behind her walked Captain Jake Collins. He wore his military uniform. He carried no weapons. The council did not allow weapons in the chamber. Claire had asked for him specifically. His file said he was calm under pressure. His file said a lot of things. Most of it was classified. Jake was 32 but looked older. He had dark circles under his eyes. He never seemed to sleep much. Right now he stood at the edge of the platform, hands behind his back, face blank. He looked like a statue. Claire reached the center of the platform. Above her, on raised seats, sat the council mediator. Her name was Lysara. She looked like a snake but was as big as a bus. Her scales were silver. Her eyes were ancient. Ambassador Morrison, Lysara said. Her voice came from a translator that hung around her neck. Welcome to the Galactic Council. We have been expecting you. Thank you for inviting us, Claire said. She smiled. It was a diplomatic smile. Warm but careful. On the left side of the chamber, a section of seats held the Zintharan delegation. They looked like giant insects with crystalline armor. Their leader was High Chancellor Varix. He was bigger than the others. His armor was deep purple. He watched Claire the way a cat watches a mouse. Let us begin, Lysara said. 6 months ago, human ships entered Zintharan space. A battle occurred, many died. We are here to make peace, Claire nodded. Humanity regrets the loss of life. We came here today to discuss terms that would prevent future conflict. Varric stood. When he moved, his armor clinked. Terms? He laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. Your species attacked us. You violated our borders. You destroyed our ships. And now you want to discuss terms? Claire kept her face calm. Our records show that your ships fired first. However, we are not here to argue about the past. We are here to build the future. The future, Varric said, will require payment, reparations. You will pay for every ship we lost, every soldier. You will surrender 3 colony worlds. You will limit your military to defensive forces only, and you will accept Zintharan observers on all your military stations. The chamber filled with whispers. Other aliens talked to each other in languages Claire did not understand. She saw some of them nodding. They thought Varix was being reasonable. Claire took a breath. Those terms are unacceptable. Humanity will not give up sovereign territory. We will not allow foreign observers on our military installations. These things are not negotiable. Then what will you negotiate? Varix leaned forward. You are one species.
We are many.
Look around you, Ambassador. You see hundreds of worlds represented here, thousands of ships, billions of soldiers. What makes you think you have any power to refuse? Claire glanced at Jake. He had not moved. His eyes were fixed on Varix. His expression had not changed. But something about him made Claire's skin prickle. She looked back at Varix. We refuse, she said quietly. Because we must. Humanity will not submit to occupation. We will not accept terms that make us servants. We came here for peace, but we will not buy peace by selling our freedom. The whispers grew louder. Lysara raised one long arm for silence. Ambassador Morrison, you must understand your position. The Zintharan Empire has a fleet of 10,000 warships. You have, according to our intelligence, perhaps 300 vessels. You have been in space for less than a century. The Zintharans have ruled the stars for 10,000 years. I understand numbers, Claire said, but I also understand that this conflict began with a misunderstanding. With proper communication, we can avoid future incidents. That is what I propose. Clear borders, regular diplomatic contact, trade agreements. We can build something positive from this. Varix made a dismissive gesture. You speak like a child who does not understand the adult world. Very well. Since you refuse to be reasonable, let me be clear. If you do not accept our terms, the Zintharan Empire will enforce them. Your colonies will be seized. Your ships will be destroyed. Your homeworld will be blockaded until you surrender. Claire felt her hands shake. She hid them behind her back. That would be an act of war. Yes, Varric said. It would. A war you cannot win. A war that would end your species as a free people. Is that what you want? The chamber was silent now. All the aliens watched her. They wanted to see if she would break. If she would beg. If she would do what they all expected her to do. I request a recess, Claire said. I need to consult with my government. Lysara nodded. We will adjourn for 3 hours. Use this time wisely, Ambassador. Claire walked off the platform. Jake followed. They went to a small room off the main chamber. It had a table and 2 chairs. One wall was transparent and looked out at the stars. Claire sat down. Her legs felt weak. That went well, she said. It was sarcasm. Jake did not smile. They are testing you, he said. His voice was flat. Calm. Testing me? Claire looked at him. They are threatening to destroy us. No, Jake said. They are threatening to try. There is a difference. Claire stared at him. Captain, they have 10,000 ships. We have 300. The math is simple. The math is not about ships, Jake said. It is about cost. Every species in that chamber is doing the same calculation. Not can they beat us, but what would it cost to try? And what would it cost them? Claire asked. Jake looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked out at the stars. Everything, he said quietly. Before Claire could ask what he meant, the door opened. A small alien entered. He looked like an elephant, but was only 4 feet tall. His name was Krell. He was the keeper of the council archives. Ambassador Morrison, he said. His voice was high and nervous. May I speak with you? Of course, Claire said. Krell glanced at Jake, then back at Claire. I have been reviewing the official records of your conflict with the Zintharan Empire. There are some irregularities I thought you should know about. What kind of irregularities? Claire asked. The records have been edited, Krell said. Recently. By the Zintharan delegation, with council approval. This is unusual. We pride ourselves on accurate history. What did they change? Claire felt her heart beat faster. Krell hesitated. The outcome of several battles. The casualty numbers. And something else. There was a note in the original files. It said that the Zintharans requested council intervention to end the war. That note has been removed. Claire looked at Jake. He was watching Krell with interest now. Why would they remove that? Claire asked. Krell looked uncomfortable. Perhaps because it suggests they were losing. But I do not understand why the council would allow such changes. Unless... He trailed off. Unless what? Claire pressed. Unless everyone agreed it was better to remember things differently, Krell said. I should not say more. But you should ask yourself, Ambassador, why the Zintharans are so aggressive if they won your war, and why the council invited humanity to join if you lost so badly. He left quickly. Claire sat in silence. Her mind was racing. Captain Collins, she said slowly. What really happened in our war with the Zintharans? Jake did not answer immediately. When he did, his voice was quiet. We won, Ambassador, completely. They had no choice but to ask for peace. Then why are we here pretending we lost? Claire felt anger building. Because the council was afraid, Jake said. They offered us membership, trade, technology, everything we wanted. The only price was letting the Zintharans save face. So we agreed. Afraid of what? Claire asked. Jake looked at her. For the first time, she saw something in his eyes. Not pride. Not anger. Something else. Something that made her cold. Afraid of us, he said. Claire stood and walked to the window. She looked out at the stars. In the distance, she could see ships. Zintharan ships. Hundreds of them. They had brought a fleet to intimidate her. She thought about Jake standing at the edge of the platform. She thought about how the other military escorts relaxed and talked. But Jake stood like a statue. Always watching. Always ready. She thought about the way Varric had looked at her. Not with contempt, with something else. Was it fear hiding behind anger? What did we do to them? She asked quietly. Jake came to stand beside her. We fought like humans fight, Ambassador. We did not fight to win battles. We fought to make them regret starting the war. The 3 hours passed. Claire did not call Earth. She already knew what they would tell her. Accept the best terms you can get. Humanity needs allies. We cannot afford another war. But something had changed in her. She understood now. This was not a negotiation. It was a cage. They were trying to trap humanity before humans realized they did not need to be trapped. When they returned to the chamber, Every seat was filled. More aliens had come to watch. They wanted to see her surrender. They wanted to see humanity bend. Claire walked to the center platform. Jake followed. He took his position. Claire could not sleep. She lay in her quarters on the station and stared at the ceiling. The meeting had ended badly. Varix had given her 1 day to reconsider. 24 hours to accept his terms or face the consequences. But that was not what kept her awake. It was the fear in his eyes. It was Jake's cold smile. It was Krell's warning about edited records. She got up and dressed. The station never slept. Its corridors were always lit. She walked to the archives. They were open to all council members. Krell had told her where to look. The archive room was enormous. Walls of screens showed the history of the galaxy, thousands of years of war and peace, trade and betrayal, rise and fall of empires. Claire found a terminal and pulled up the records of the human-Zintheran War. The official version was simple. Humanity had violated borders. The Zintherans responded with force. Several battles occurred. Humanity sued for peace. The war lasted 6 months, but the numbers did not make sense. If humanity lost, why were the casualties so one-sided? The Zintherans claimed to have lost 3,000 ships. Humanity claimed to have lost 200. Those were not the numbers of a winner and loser. She dug deeper. She found after-action reports that had not been edited. They told a different story. The first battle happened near a human colony called New Boston. 3 Zintheran cruisers entered the system without permission. They demanded the colonists evacuate. When the colonists refused, the Zintherans opened fire. 2 human frigates responded. They were smaller. They were outgunned. But they did not retreat. They did something the Zintherans did not expect. They boarded the enemy ships. Claire read the Zintheran report. It was written by a surviving officer. His words were shaken, afraid. He described human soldiers cutting through the hull, moving through corridors, fighting in zero gravity, using the ship's own weapons against its crew. 1 cruiser was captured intact. The other 2 retreated. The battle lasted 40 minutes. The Zintherans sent a fleet to retaliate. 20 ships. They surrounded the colony. They demanded surrender. The human response was 6 words. Come and take it. What happened next was not a battle. It was a slaughter. The humans had studied the captured Zintheran ship. They knew its weaknesses. They knew its tactics. They knew everything. Of 20 Zintheran ships, 3 escaped. The rest were destroyed or captured. The Zintherans lost 4,000 soldiers. The humans lost 90. Claire felt sick. She kept reading. The war escalated. The Zintherans committed more ships. Bigger fleets. They were angry. They were proud. They would not accept defeat from primitives. But every battle went the same way. The humans did not fight fair. They ambushed. They boarded. They used psychological warfare. They broadcast recordings of their victories to the enemy fleets. They wanted the Zintherans to be afraid. It worked. The final battle was at a place called the Kepler Gap. The Zintherans sent their best. Their newest dreadnought. The Pride of Zinthara. It was 3 miles long. It carried 10,000 soldiers. It had never been defeated. A single human team boarded it. 20 soldiers. One of them was Jake Collins. Claire found the video file. It was classified. But Krell had given her access codes. She hesitated. Then she played it. The footage was from Zintheran security cameras. It showed corridors. Empty at first. Then movement. Human soldiers in armor. They moved fast, efficient. They did not waste bullets. They did not waste time. The Zintherans tried to stop them. They set up defensive positions. They used heavy weapons. It did not matter. The humans adapted. They found new routes. They used grenades. They used the ship's own systems against its crew. Claire watched Jake on the screen. He moved through the ship like he had built it himself. He knew where to go, what to destroy, who to target. He was not rushing. He was not panicking. He was working. At one point, the Zintherans vented a section to space. They thought it would kill the humans. Jake's team just put on their helmets and kept moving. They walked through vacuum like it was air. The dreadnought fell in 47 minutes. The crew surrendered. Jake's team broadcast the surrender on all frequencies. Every Zintheran ship in the system heard their flagship give up. The war ended 3 days later. The Zintherans begged the council to intervene. They said humanity was too dangerous. They said someone had to stop them before it was too late. The council agreed, but not the way the Xintharans wanted. The council offered humanity membership, full rights, no restrictions. The only condition was that humanity had to agree to let the Xintharans save face publicly. The war had to be recorded as a draw. A misunderstanding between two proud species. Humanity agreed. They wanted what the council offered: technology, trade routes, allies, and they understood that sometimes winning meant letting your enemy pretend they did not lose. Claire closed the files. Her hands were shaking. She had spent 3 days negotiating with Varix, trying to find compromise, trying to be reasonable, and the entire time he had been terrified, not of humanity's ships, but of what humanity would do if they had to fight again. She heard footsteps. Jake appeared in the doorway. He was not surprised to see her. Could not sleep either, he asked. I saw the files, Claire said. I watched the videos, Jake nodded. I figured you would eventually. Why did nobody tell me? Her voice was sharp. Why did they send me here thinking we were the weaker party? Because you are a diplomat, Jake said. You needed to negotiate in good faith. If you knew the truth, it would have shown. The Xintharans would have seen it, and this would have gotten ugly faster. It is already ugly, Claire said. They are threatening war. No, Jake said. They are bluffing. They know what happened last time. They do not want to do it again. Then why are they pushing so hard? Claire asked. Pride, Jake said. And fear. They thought they could cage us with diplomacy. Make us accept limits before we realize we did not need to. But you called their bluff. Now they have to decide if their pride is worth the cost. Claire sat down. She felt tired. I watched you on that ship. The pride of Xinthara. You were so calm, so efficient. Like you were doing routine maintenance. It was routine, Jake said. We trained for exactly that scenario. We knew the ship type. We knew the crew complement. We knew the defensive positions they would use. We had practiced it 100 times. How many ships did you board? Claire asked. 23, Jake said. His voice was flat. No pride, no shame. Just fact. And how many enemy casualties? Jake was quiet for a moment. From my missions alone? Approximately 40,000. Claire felt cold. 40,000. That was more than some entire battles in human history. They call you a god of war, she said quietly. Do they not? Some do, Jake said. I am just a soldier, Ambassador. I do my job. Nothing more. Your job is killing, Claire said. It was not an accusation. Just an observation. My job is ending wars, Jake corrected. Sometimes that requires killing. But the goal is always to make the enemy stop fighting. The fastest way to do that is to make them afraid of what happens if they continue. Claire looked at him. Really looked at him. He was young, too young to have done the things he had done. But his eyes were old, tired. Do you enjoy it? She asked. No, Jake said immediately. I hate it. Every mission, every boarding, every time I pull the trigger. But someone has to do it, and I am good at it. So I do. A message came through on Claire's communicator. It was from Admiral Lawson, Jake's former commanding officer. Claire had requested a conversation. The Admiral had agreed, but only through encrypted channels. Claire activated the hologram. Admiral Lawson appeared. She was in her 60s, gray hair, sharp eyes. She looked at Claire and Jake. Ambassador Morrison, she said, I understand you have been reading classified files. I needed to know the truth, Claire said. And now you know, Lawson said. So what will you do with it? I do not know, Claire admitted. The Council wants us to accept restrictions, to be good little members, to not make waves. But we have the power to refuse. So why should we not? Because power comes with responsibility, Lawson said. We can crush the Xintharans. We can probably crush most of the Council if we had to. But then what? We become the thing everyone fears. The tyrant. The bully. Is that who we want to be? But if we accept restrictions, we are lying about who we are, Claire said. We are pretending to be weak. No, Lawson said. We are choosing restraint. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. But only if it is our choice. If they force it on us, then it becomes a cage. The Admiral paused. Then she said something that made Claire's blood run cold. Ambassador, you need to understand something. The Council knows what we are. They have known since the first battle. They invited us in hoping they could domesticate us, make us civilized, make us safe. But they cannot, because the thing that makes us dangerous is not our weapons or our tactics. It is our adaptability. We learn faster than anyone else. We innovate faster. We evolve faster, and that terrifies them. So what do? Claire asked. You make them respect us, Lawson said. Not fear us. Respect us. There is a difference. Fear makes enemies. Respect makes equals. The hologram cut out. Claire sat in silence. Jake stood by the window looking at the stars. She is right, he said quietly. Fear is a tool, but it is not a foundation. If they only fear us, they will always be looking for a way to destroy us. But if they respect us, we can build something real. How do we make them respect us? Claire asked. The council chamber was packed. Every seat was filled. Aliens from across the galaxy had come to watch. Word had spread that the human ambassador would give her final answer today. Everyone wanted to see if she would submit. Claire walked down the aisle. Jake followed 2 steps behind. She noticed the difference immediately. The way aliens looked at Jake had changed. Before they had been curious. Now they were careful. They kept their distance. She reached the platform. Ferrex was already there. He looked confident. His armor gleamed. He thought he had won. Lysera called the session to order. Her voice echoed through the chamber. Ambassador Morrison, you have had time to consider. What is humanity's decision? Claire stood straight. She spoke clearly. Every word was deliberate. Humanity rejects the terms proposed by High Chancellor Ferrex. We will not pay reparations for defending ourselves. We will not surrender colonies. We will not accept military restrictions. And we will not allow foreign observers on our installations. The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages. Ferrex slammed his fist on his seat. This is outrageous, he roared. You dare refuse? You dare to insult this council? I dare to tell the truth, Claire said calmly. The truth that has been hidden from this chamber. The truth about what really happened in our war. The noise stopped. Every alien went silent. Ferrex's face changed. Fear flickered in his eyes. The official records say that humanity provoked conflict and then sued for peace, Claire continued. But the actual records tell a different story. The Zintheran Empire attacked first, and the Zintheran Empire lost. Badly. Lies, Ferrex shouted. These are lies! Then explain why you requested council intervention, Claire said. Explain why you edited the official records. Explain why you brought a fleet here to intimidate us if you won the war so easily. Ferrex had no answer. He sat down. His armor rattled. An alien stood up in the back of the chamber. He had 4 arms and dark blue skin. His name was Thane. He was a war scholar, someone who studied every conflict in galactic history. May I speak? Thane asked. Lysera nodded. The floor recognizes war scholar Thane. Thane walked to the center. He looked old, tired, and afraid. I have been studying humanity since they first entered space, he said. I have read every report, watched every battle recording, and I have reached a conclusion that terrifies me. He activated a hologram. It showed Earth, beautiful, blue and green, peaceful. Humanity has existed as a civilization for approximately 6,000 years, Thane said. In that time, they have been at war for 5,900 of those years. They have fought each other constantly, endlessly. They have developed more words for conflict than any other species I have studied. War, battle, skirmish, raid, siege, campaign. They have dozens of terms. The hologram changed. It showed human soldiers throughout history. Ancient warriors with spears. Medieval knights with swords. Modern soldiers with rifles. Most species develop space travel during periods of global cooperation, Thane continued. Humanity developed it during what they call the Cold War. A peace so hostile that they built enough weapons to destroy their own planet multiple times. They pointed missiles at themselves. Think about that. They were willing to end their entire species rather than lose to each other. The chamber was silent. Aliens stared at the images. Some looked horrified. Others looked fascinated. Their greatest technological advances came from trying to kill each other more efficiently, Thane said. Flight, rocketry, nuclear power, computers. All of it developed for war. They took tools of destruction and turned them into tools of exploration. But the capacity for violence is still there. Always there. He turned to face the council. "This is what I have learned about humanity," he said quietly. "They do not fight to win. They fight to make you regret starting the fight. They are not cruel by nature, but they understand cruelty as a tool, and they will use any tool that works." Thane looked at Jake. Jake looked back. No expression. No emotion. "That man standing there," Thane said, "is Captain Jake Collins. His unit boarded 23 enemy ships during the war." 23. Most species have never successfully boarded even one hostile ship. The Xintharans lost over 3,000 vessels in the conflict. The humans lost 200, and they call it a draw. He turned back to the council. "I believe the council made a mistake. We thought we could control humanity by giving them what they wanted. We thought they would be grateful, docile. But you cannot domesticate a species that has spent 6,000 years fighting itself. You can only hope they choose to be civilized." Thane sat down. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then another human walked into the chamber. He was older, 50s, he wore a civilian suit, but he walked like a military man. His name was Felix Hunt. He was a general before he became an ambassador. Lysera looked surprised. "Ambassador Hunt? We did not summon you." "I came because it was time," Felix said. He walked to the center platform. He stood next to Claire. "Earth has decided that we are done pretending, done hiding what we are, done accepting terms designed to cage us." He pulled out a data pad. He displayed it for everyone to see. "These are humanity's actual terms," Felix said. "Full council membership with all rights and privileges. No military restrictions. No observers. No territory surrendered. Open colonization rights in unclaimed space. And mutual defense agreements with any species that wants one." "And if we refuse?" Varix asked. His voice was quieter now. "Less certain?" "Then we leave the council," Felix said. "We develop our own territories. We make our own alliances. And we defend ourselves against anyone who tries to stop us." "That sounds like a threat," Lysera said. "It is a promise," Felix said. "We want peace. We want cooperation. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. But we will not buy that by selling our freedom. We will not accept limits placed on us by fear." An alien from the far side of the chamber stood. She was small, looked almost human but with silver skin. Her species was old, one of the first to reach the stars. Her name was Delegate Sorrow. "I must tell you something," Sorrow said. Her voice was soft but clear. "My people encountered humans before. Thousands of years ago. A scout ship crashed on Earth. The humans found it. Every alien turned to look at her. This was new information. We were afraid," Sorrow continued. "We thought they would kill us. Instead, they studied our ship. They tried to understand. They helped our injured crew. And when we were ready to leave, they let us go. They asked only one thing, that we remember them." She looked at Claire. "My ancestors wrote a report," Sorrow said. "They warned future generations about humanity. Not because humans were cruel, but because they were adaptable. They said humans war constantly with themselves, but when faced with something new, something unknown, they become curious, cautious, intelligent. They said we should never engage humanity in conflict, because humans learn from every fight, and they never fight the same way twice. I brought that report to the council years ago," Sorrow said. "I warned them that humanity would reach space eventually, and when they did, we needed to be friends, not enemies. But the council did not listen. They thought civilization would soften humanity. They were wrong. Civilization did not make humans less dangerous. It made them more disciplined." Varric stood again. He looked around the chamber. He saw how many species were listening to the humans. How many were considering their terms. "This is madness," he said. "You would give them everything they want? You would let them move freely? Build freely? They will become a threat to us all." "They are already a threat," Thane said quietly. "The question is whether they are our threat or someone else's problem." "I propose a vote," Lysara said. "All those in favor of accepting humanity's terms indicate now." Lights began appearing across the chamber. Green lights. Species voting yes. One by one they lit up. Dozens, then hundreds. Varix watched in horror. Even some of his own allies were voting yes. They had done the math. They had watched the recordings. They knew what would happen if they tried to force humanity to submit. The vote finished. Over 70% had voted to accept humanity's terms. Lysara looked tired, old. "The council has spoken. Humanity will be granted full membership. No restrictions. The terms are accepted. Varric sat down slowly. He looked defeated, broken. He had tried to cage humanity. Instead, he had freed them. Claire felt relief wash over her, but also sadness. She had not wanted this. She had wanted true cooperation, true peace. Instead, they had won through threat, through fear. As the session ended, aliens filed out. Many avoided looking at the human delegation. Others stared openly. Claire heard whispers. Gods of war, monsters in human skin, demons from Earth. Felix approached her. You did well, he said. I feel like I lost, Claire said. They accepted our terms, but they hate us for it. They fear us, Felix corrected. But fear can become respect. If we prove we deserve it. Jake appeared beside them. He had been standing at his post the entire time, silent, watching. They will test us, he said quietly, not militarily, but in other ways. They will see if we use our freedom responsibly, if we become the monsters they fear or something better. And what will we become? Claire asked. Jake looked at her. His eyes were serious. That depends on us, he said. We have the power to destroy, but we also have the power to build. The question is which one we choose to use. 2 days after the vote, the galaxy held its breath. Humanity had won their freedom, but Varric was not finished. He could not accept defeat, not publicly, not without one final attempt to salvage his pride. Claire was in her quarters when the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed in the corridors. She ran to the command center. Jake was already there. He was looking at a tactical display. What is happening? Claire asked. Varric's brought friends, Jake said. He pointed at the screen. Dozens of ships were appearing in the system. Xantheran ships. More arriving every minute. A message came through. It was Varric's. His face appeared on the screen. He looked angry, desperate. The council may have voted to accept your terms, he said. But the Xantheran Empire does not. You humiliated us. You made us look weak. That cannot stand. We challenge you here and now. Prove you are as dangerous as everyone says. Or submit. The transmission ended. Claire looked at Jake. He was completely calm. How many ships does he have? Claire asked. 500, Jake said. Maybe 600 by the time they all arrive. And how many do we have? None, Jake said. The nearest human fleet is 3 days away. Claire felt her stomach drop. They were alone, undefended. Varric had chosen his moment perfectly. We need to evacuate, she said. Get everyone off the station. Wait, Jake said. He was looking at another screen. Something is happening. New ships were arriving. But not Xantheran ships. Human ships. A full battle fleet. They appeared at the edge of the system and immediately began moving into formation. Claire counted. 50 ships, no, 70. The fleet kept growing. Every human vessel within range had responded. A message came through. Admiral Lawson appeared on the screen. She looked grim, determined. Ambassador Morrison, she said. We received your situation report. We are here to assist. Admiral, you are outnumbered 8-1, Claire said. This is suicide. No, Ambassador, Lawson said. This is math. And the Xantherans are about to learn that numbers are not everything. Claire looked at Jake. He was smiling. That cold smile. The one that did not reach his eyes. They are not here to fight, Jake said. They are here to make the Xantherans calculate the cost. The human fleet maintained its distance. They did not advance. They did not retreat. They just sat there. Their weapons were armed. Their shields were up, ready, waiting. Claire could see data streaming across the screens. Attack simulations. Probability matrices. The human ships were calculating every possible battle scenario and broadcasting it openly. They wanted the Xantherans to see. One screen showed the results. If the Xantherans attacked, they would win. Eventually, but they would lose 300 ships doing it, maybe 400, more than half their fleet. And the humans would make sure every loss cost as much as possible. Every ship that fell would take multiple Xantheran vessels with it. Every boarding action would turn into a nightmare. Every defensive position would become a kill zone. Claire understood now. This was not about winning. It was about making victory so expensive that it felt like defeat. Hours passed. The two fleets sat in space, staring at each other. Neither side moved. Neither side blinked. On the station, other aliens watched. The council had not evacuated. They wanted to see how this would end. They wanted to see if humanity would start the shooting or wait for the Zintharans to make the first move. Lysara sent a message to both sides. The Council demands you stand down. This behavior violates every principle we stand for. Both sides must withdraw immediately. Neither side responded. The standoff continued. Claire could not take it anymore. She opened a channel to Varix. His face appeared on the screen. He looked stressed, tired. "High Chancellor," Claire said. "This is madness. You cannot win this fight. Even if you destroy our fleet, more will come. And they will not stop until you regret ever starting this." "You think I do not know that?" Varix snapped. "You think I have not done the calculations? But I cannot back down. Not without looking like a coward. Not without losing everything." "Then let me give you a way out," Claire said. "Withdraw your fleet. Tell your people you were testing our resolve, that you wanted to make sure humanity was worthy of council membership, and we passed the test." "That is a lie," Varix said. "Yes," Claire agreed. "But it is a lie that lets you save face. It is a lie that prevents thousands from dying. Is your pride worth more than their lives?" Varix was silent. He looked at his tactical screens. "At the numbers. At the cost. If I do this," he said slowly, "will you agree to something? Will you limit your expansion for 10 years? Give my people time to adjust to your presence?" Claire looked at Jake. He nodded slightly. "We will agree to advance notification of colony establishment," Claire said, "and we will respect a buffer zone around Zintharan space. But we will not limit our growth." That was the point of all this. Varix closed his eyes. He looked defeated, broken, but also relieved. "Very well," he said quietly. "I will withdraw. But Ambassador Morrison, know this. My people will never forget what happened here, what you made us feel." "Good," Claire said. "Remember it, and choose differently next time." The transmission ended. Slowly, the Zintharan fleet began to withdraw. Ship by ship, they turned and left the system. The crisis was over, but Claire knew something had changed. The galaxy had seen humanity make a stand. They had seen the calculations, the simulations, the cold, efficient mathematics of human warfare, and they understood now. Humanity did not bluff. When they said they would fight, they meant it. When they showed you the cost, they were not exaggerating. Admiral Lawson sent another message. "Well done, Ambassador. You found a way to end this without bloodshed. That is what we needed. Not a battle, but proof that battles are not necessary." "Will they test us again?" Claire asked. "Probably," Lawson said, "but not like this. They will test us in other ways. Economically, diplomatically, culturally. They will see if we can compete without violence, and we will prove that we can." The human fleet began to withdraw as well, but they did not leave the system. They maintained a presence, a reminder, a promise. Claire walked to the observation deck. She looked out at the stars, at the ships moving through space, at the galaxy that was now open to humanity. Jake joined her. He stood beside her in silence for a long moment. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Claire asked. "Yes," Jake said. "We showed them we could fight. But we also showed them we would rather not. That is the balance. That is what makes the difference." "They call you a god of war," Claire said. "But you are really a god of prevention. You exist so that wars do not have to happen." Jake smiled. A real smile this time, warm, human. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe I am just a soldier who wants to retire someday. And the only way that happens is if people stop starting wars." They stood together watching the stars. Two humans. One diplomat. One warrior. Both trying to build a future where their skills were not needed. On the station, aliens talked in hushed voices. They discussed what they had seen. The calculations, the simulations, the cold efficiency of human military planning. But they also discussed something else. The fact that humanity had chosen not to fire first, that they had given Varix a way out, that they had offered mercy when they could have demanded blood, and slowly, very slowly, fear began to transform into something else. Not friendship, not yet, but respect, understanding, the recognition that humanity was dangerous but not cruel, powerful but not tyrannical. It was a start. Delegate Sorrow approached Claire later that evening. The small alien looked tired but pleased. "My ancestors were right," Sorrow said. "Humanity is dangerous, but they are also capable of wisdom. You proved that today. You had the power to destroy, but you chose to preserve. We are still learning, Claire said. We make mistakes. We have done terrible things to each other, but we are trying to be better. That is all anyone can ask, Sorrow said. The council feared you would be conquerors. But I think you will surprise them. I think you will be something else entirely. What will we be? Claire asked. Sorrow smiled. It was the first time Claire had seen the alien smile. Partners, Sorrow said. Equals friends eventually if you earn it. We will, Claire promised. We will earn it, and she meant it. Humanity had proven they could fight. Now they had to prove they could do everything else, build, trade, cooperate, coexist. It would not be easy. There would be setbacks, conflicts, misunderstandings. But for the first time since leaving Earth, humanity was not alone. They were part of something bigger, and they were determined not to waste the opportunity. 6 months passed. The galaxy changed in small ways and large. Human colonies appeared in unclaimed space. Not aggressively, not rushed, but steadily. Each one announced in advance. Each one respecting the buffer zones agreed upon. Humanity was keeping its word. Trade routes opened. Human merchants began traveling to alien worlds. They brought goods that fascinated the galaxy. Art, music, literature, food. Things that showed humanity was more than just warriors. And slowly, aliens began visiting human worlds, curious, cautious but willing to try. Claire remained on the council station as Earth's permanent representative. She attended sessions regularly now. She voted on trade agreements, immigration policies, scientific cooperation, the boring, important work of building peace. Jake stayed with her. He was still her military escort, but his role had changed. Now he spent most of his time training other species soldiers, teaching them human tactics, not to make them more dangerous, but to help them understand how humans thought. It was strange work. Many aliens were afraid of him at first. They had seen the videos, heard the stories. They expected a monster. Instead, they found a teacher. Patient, clear, focused. He showed them that human military doctrine was not about cruelty. It was about efficiency, ending conflicts as quickly as possible with minimum loss of life on all sides. One day, a young Xintharan officer came to one of his classes. His name was Kesh. He had fought in the war. He had been on the Pride of Xinthara when Jake's team boarded it. After the class, Kesh approached Jake. He looked nervous. His armor was dull, not the gleaming purple of high-ranking officers. Just a soldier trying to do his job. Captain Collins, Kesh said. His translator made his voice sound mechanical. May I ask you something? Of course, Jake said. Why did you spare us? Kesh asked. On the Pride. You could have killed everyone, but you took prisoners instead. Why? Jake considered the question. Because dead enemies cannot tell their friends to stop fighting. Prisoners can. Fear of death makes soldiers desperate, but fear of capture, of humiliation, of watching your flagship surrender, that makes commanders think twice before starting wars. Kesh nodded slowly. It worked. After the Pride fell, our fleet broke. Half of them retreated immediately. The other half surrendered within days. You broke our spirit without destroying our bodies. That was the goal, Jake said. Wars are not won by killing the most enemies. They are won by making the enemy decide fighting is not worth the cost. My people hate you, Kesh said, but they also respect you. That is why I am here. Learning from you, so that maybe next time we do not have to learn the hard way. Jake smiled. That is all I can ask. In the council chamber, things had changed too. Humanity was no longer the outsider. They were members, full participants. Other species still watched them carefully. But the fear was fading, being replaced by partnership. Varix had been recalled to his homeworld, disgraced. His attempt to intimidate humanity had backfired completely. A new Xintharan representative took his place. She was younger, more pragmatic. She voted with humanity on several measures. It was not friendship, but it was cooperation, and that was progress. One afternoon, Claire received a message. It was from Earth. The Secretary General wanted to speak with her. The hologram activated. Secretary General Price appeared. She was in her 70s, gray hair pulled back, tired eyes but a warm smile. Ambassador Morrison, she said, I wanted to personally thank you for your work. The Council just approved our request to establish a joint research station with 5 other species. Humans and aliens working together on faster-than-light technology. A year ago, that would have been impossible. It almost did not happen, Claire said. We came very close to war. But we did not have war, Price said. Because you found another way. That is what I need you to keep doing. Keep building bridges. Keep showing them that humanity is more than our capacity for violence. They still fear us, Claire said. Good, Price said. A little fear keeps people honest. But balance it with trust. Show them we can be relied upon, that we keep our word, that we are partners worth having. The transmission ended. Claire sat in silence. She thought about everything that had happened. The confrontations, the threats, the standoff in space, all of it leading to this moment. Humanity accepted, humanity integrated, humanity building instead of destroying. That evening, she and Jake went to the observation deck. It had become their routine. Every night after the council sessions, they would stand here and look at the stars. Do you ever think about retiring? Claire asked. Jake laughed. It was a genuine laugh. Every single day. But not yet. There is still work to do. What kind of work? Making sure nobody needs soldiers like me, Jake said.
Every officer I train, every alliance we build, every treaty we sign.
All of it makes war less likely. And the less likely war becomes, the less relevant I am. You want to be irrelevant? Claire asked. More than anything, Jake said quietly. The day nobody needs a god of war is the day I can finally rest. They stood in comfortable silence. Below them, the station bustled with activity. Aliens from dozens of species moving through the corridors. Trading, talking, learning, living together. A group of young aliens walked past the observation deck. They saw Jake and stopped. One of them, a small furry creature, waved. Jake waved back. They are not afraid of you anymore, Claire observed. Some still are, Jake said. But yeah, it is getting better. Months turned into a year, then 2 years. Humanity continued to expand. But carefully, respectfully, always keeping their promises, always respecting boundaries. Human scientists worked with alien researchers. Human artists collaborated with alien musicians. Human teachers learned alien languages and taught in alien schools. And human soldiers trained with alien militaries, not to prepare for war against each other, but to prepare for mutual defense, because the galaxy was large and dangerous, and it was safer together. The Xantheran Empire eventually apologized, officially, publicly. They acknowledged that they had started the war, that they had been wrong. It was hard for them, humiliating, but they did it, and humanity accepted the apology, not because they forgot what happened, but because holding grudges was exhausting, and there was too much work to do. Claire was in a council session when the message came through. Pirates had attacked a colony, not a human colony, a Xantheran one. The distress call went out to everyone. Before the council could debate what to do, Admiral Lawson sent word. The human fleet was already moving. They would arrive at the colony in 6 hours. They would drive off the pirates. No payment required, no favors expected, just help. Because that was what allies did. The Xantheran representative stood. She looked shocked, grateful. Why? She asked. After everything we did to you, why would you help us? Claire stood as well. Because we are not your enemies anymore. We are your neighbors, and neighbors help each other. The chamber was silent. Then slowly, species began standing, applauding. Not because humanity had done something spectacular, but because they had done something simple. Something kind. Something that showed they could be more than weapons. Jake was there, standing at his post. He was not smiling, but his eyes were warm, proud. After the session, Lysera approached Claire. The old mediator looked tired but content. You have surprised us, Ambassador, Lysera said. When humanity first came to the council, we were afraid. We thought you would conquer, destroy, take. But you have built instead. Given instead, cooperated instead. We are still learning, Claire said. We make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, Lysera said. What matters is learning from them. And you have shown you can do that. I believe humanity will be good for the galaxy. In time. That night, Claire and Jake stood on the observation deck again. The stars shone bright. Human ships moved peacefully through space alongside alien vessels, trading, exploring, living. We did it, Claire said quietly. We actually did it. We proved we could be more than they feared. We are not done yet, Jake said. This is just the beginning. But it is a good beginning. Do you think they will ever stop seeing you as a god of war? Claire asked. Jake thought about it. Maybe eventually, but honestly I do not mind if they remember what I can do. As long as they also remember what I choose not to do. The power to destroy is only meaningful if you have the discipline not to use it. You are not a god of war, Claire said. You are just a man who is very good at something he wishes he did not have to be good at. Jake smiled. And that is what makes me human. The ability to be good at violence but to choose peace. The ability to have power but to exercise restraint. That is what we bring to the galaxy. Not just our strength, but our choice to use that strength wisely. Years passed. Human colonies thrived. Human culture spread. Human influence grew. But not through conquest. Through contribution. Human doctors saved alien lives. Human engineers solved alien problems. Human artists inspired alien creativity. And human soldiers stood ready. Not to attack, but to defend. Anyone. Everyone. The galaxy learned a lesson it had not expected. Humanity was dangerous. That was true. But they were also dependable. Trustworthy, honorable. They kept their word. They defended their friends. They built instead of destroyed whenever possible. And they had learned the most important lesson of all. That power without wisdom is tyranny. That strength without compassion is cruelty. That the